of that nature.
I don't think that's generally true. There might be cases of that. Obviously, I'm dealing with the Jersey situation where we're in the High Court on the 17th of March with Stuart Sivray, who's a senator in Jersey, to try and deal with the situation of... You see, there were children sent from Islington to Jersey on abuse tours to be abused, all right? And that's very bad.
Well, that's quite an accusation. Do you have evidence of that?
Well, I don't have direct evidence. I have indirect. I know the people who can give me the information.
So you're saying that people
in positions
of power in the 80s...
But you know what was going on in Islington. That's all been publicised. The fact that the children's homes were being run by paedophiles at the time. That's all known. And it's been in the public domain, and some action in the end happened over that.
Well, OK.
It did. No, that's all there. But put that aside. We'll go named case, Phil Thompson. I've seen all the paperwork. Right. This case, actually, we've tried to get that one into the European Court. So the papers went off to the European Court of Human Rights about 2 or 3 months ago. And we'll see where that case goes. But so that sort of thing where people just can't find out what's happened. Now, I believe what happened in this case is that they were told to go to the wrong court, went to the wrong court.
Who's they?
The father.
OK.
All right, the father, Phil O'Gorman is his name, was sent to the wrong court. And so he wasn't able to see the hearing that was going on about his children. Right.
And of course it's in camera.
Well, it's in camera, so you have a situation where people would be jailed for talking about what went on in court. The Clayton v. Clayton was the case in 1996, 2006 rather, where Simon Clayton managed to get permission to reveal the identities of people involved in family court cases after the case, which is in a sense why the Websters can be identified. If you remember the Webster case where... And it's interesting when you look at what happened with the Webster case, where the procedural abuses were there. The government is interestingly trying to reverse Clayton v. Clayton and try and gag people like the Websters and the Thompsons of this world.
So, the father, this O'Gorman...
Yes.
Of
his grandmother
these 3
Sarah
children.
O'Gorman, yes.
Yeah, it was the mother's side, but presumably the Thompson...
Sarah O'Gorman is Phil Thompson's daughter.
Right.
Right.
OK. So anyway, the father of these 3 children that were adopted in this court case was told to go to the wrong court.
Yeah.
Do you think this was deliberate?
I think it was deliberate, yes.
And then all the records were destroyed. No one's got any records.
We can't find copies of the records, so there may be some copies somewhere.
Does the court not keep a record?
Well, we wrote to the court, and the court said, sorry, no, you can't. I can show you the stuff on my computer later. I've got the sort of letters from the court.
They said you can't have them, is that what they said?
No, they said we haven't got them, we've lost them.
They've lost them?
They've lost the record.
The council's lost them?
Well, the council hasn't divvied up any information, all right? The people who said they've lost them are Kafkas and the courts, and the others are refusing to give us anything.
It is truly beyond belief,
It is beyond belief. It shocked me when I got involved in this to find out the sort of things that went on. But you have cases... Let's come back to this case where you actually know the reasons they're using. They take a child into care because mom was being abused. Not because the child was being abused, because mom was being abused, but mom and the dad have split up, all right?
So then the father's no longer on the scene?
Father's no longer on the scene, so they're persecuting all people all the way around the world, all right? So this particular saga is one that's been reported anonymously in the Sunday Telegraph, because what happened was mom got pregnant, right? What was an odd situation was that Kafkas told mom, the guardian ad litem, said, we would support you getting back together with your ex-partner. So she did and got pregnant. And then they said, well, we're not happy with that. All right? So she's then pregnant. She faces having a baby removed at birth. If
she's already lost her other 3 children?
No, you're different case.
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon.
The Thompson case is the one where we don't know why they took the kids because we can't get the paperwork from anywhere. All right? This other case that I'm not naming, right, because it's still live in the family courts, and therefore you can't name the people without permission of the court, is one where mom then took the 5-year-old, because he was suffering a lot. You imagine what's happened to a poor old 4 or 5-year-old, he was 4 at the time. He's moved around between foster carers, no stable environment, he's doing really badly at school, So he's been really messed about in foster care, not necessarily by the foster carers, but by the impermanency, the fact that he's moved around all the time.
Yeah, and of course I'm sure he feels rejected as well.
And he feels really confused. What's being done to me? Why am I being treated like this?
Why can't he be with his mother?
Why can't he be with his mother? So his mother takes him away out of foster care, goes abroad.
What, illegally?
Illegally, yes.
Is this the one who went to France?
No, she actually went to Spain.
Okay.
All right. And basically, she's now actually, in fact, in Ireland, and she's fighting what's called Hague Convention proceedings. There's a hearing in Dublin on Wednesday, and there's a hearing in Devon on Wednesday, which is actually, if you're going out on Thursday, it's the yesterday when you go out.
Okay.
Right. About this case. Obviously, I can't talk about the minutiae of the case, because the minutiae of the case is the proceedings of the case, which you're not allowed to talk about.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about Ireland is Article 41 of the Irish Constitution makes it impossible to do a forced adoption, basically. And there are 2 cases in Ireland where the courts in England have asked Ireland for a child to be returned, adopted from foster care in the United Kingdom. One was Northern Ireland. I don't know where the other one was. And the Irish courts have said, no, you can't have that child because of the possibility that you'll put the child through forcible adoption. Because you've got to understand, for older children who remember their parents and have actually got on quite well with their mother, say, well, take the Webster's kids. They've got on quite well. You know, there wasn't a problem with the Webster's kids. The system took them and gave them to some other families and would jail the Websters if they went to see them, all right? And we find out in retrospect that there was a massive miscarriages of justice, all right? But the kids know. They know what happened. It's not as if this is the difference between babies. This is why they like babies, because babies don't know. You take a baby and the baby doesn't really know its original parents. So the fact the baby's been forcibly adopted is more likely to succeed. You take some of these older kids. There was another one which was reported in the Times, and there's an anonymous judgment around that, where the mom I think went to France. This was the one where the dad was locked up for was it 16 months for driving mom to Dover, something like that. Mom was pregnant, went abroad. I've seen a DVD of this particular family, and the lad's really very happy where he is. But the courts here want to take that lad, where he's happy with his mom in France, and put him in foster care in England. Right now, you take the one in Ireland. The courts here want to take a child who's happily settled in school for the first time. He's settled in school, he's doing very well in school, and they want to take him out of a settled and comfortable environment where he's not at risk. The local authority where he have looked at him and said, look, he's perfectly happy, he's happy at school. The head teacher's concerned, the local priest is concerned, it's Catholic Church. They're very...
And she's never abused her son?
She's never hurt her children. No.
This is the one who's pregnant, is she? Or?
No, she was pregnant. You know, one of the things about pregnancy is it comes to a point at which there is a birth.
Okay.
So she had a child